brother. Your timing on that comment was just like right on.
Oh my goodness.
Selly time to take a penalty.
Oh man, that was just a horrible sequence for him. It's like the face off, everybody's falling down, including the ref, and then Heedle strips it from him when he tries to take it out of the zone, which I'd like the NHL to tinker with the overtime rules so that sort of thing, and then and the penalty.
Hey,
Two times.
I told you before the game, man. The Sharks have been playing the Canucks tough all year. Every single game has been a 1-goal game, and the fact that there was actually a penalty shot in overtime, which you rarely ever see, that's what it took for them to beat them. So
True. Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty evenly matched game. Obviously no Hughes, but
yeah. There is that X factor. We don't have our best player, probably the best player in the West. Can we say that?
I mean, if you want to stick to the Pacific time zone, there's a good chance, yeah. But as soon as you said West, I'm like, well, I'm not just talking about in Canada. I mean, there's also some guy named Nathan McKinnon. But
yeah, fair enough. Oh, well, I mean, at least the Canucks got an overtime win, which we don't get a lot of. All it took was putting all of our new players out there who we don't rely on to lose us in overtime. So,
well, much needed 2 points for you. I guess we can see it that way, right? So that Colorado and Calgary, they're shaking in their boots, even though they played each other tonight. I don't know what the score was for that game.
I can just assume that game went to overtime because that would be a Canuck thing to happen. The two teams that were chasing probably went to overtime.
But currently, at least on NHL.com, you are now points percentage wise slightly ahead of the Calgary Flames.
The wild thing too about the wild card race is essentially we're chasing LA just as much as we're chasing anyone else because LA is just above us as well. So third place in the division is just as likely as a wild card at this point for the Canucks.
It's been tough, man. I mean, because like a game like this, we haven't had many of these 2-1 games recently. It's been more like we're just getting boat raced out there. So it's kind of like, okay, maybe the Sharks will actually be able to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. And I'm glad that if anybody were to score for the Sharks, I'm glad it was Tyler Toffoli, just with how the third period went for him, especially. But Demko otherwise was great. I mean, that save that he made off of Carl Grunstrom where he extended the pad, that was a terrific save. So you love to see that.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to see even like Celebrini, despite the fact that he took that penalty in overtime, did seem like he was pushing the play there. And it's exciting to see a young guy like that because I think I'm on record as saying he's already surpassed Bedard as like the best young player in the league. Because, I mean, Bedard's got a bit of a different situation there in Chicago, but Celebrini's game has a little bit of bite to it. And I didn't expect that when he got drafted by the Sharks. But after watching the highlights, man, like he's got no problem getting into the corners and mucking up with people.
That's true. Yeah. And I mean, he draws, you saw tonight, he drew the penalty that, it didn't lead to the Sharks goal, but it was, it was helping them get some of that momentum that they needed for the last 4 minutes. You're right. I mean, I think that, he has definitely exceeded the expectations I had for him this year. And yeah, it's not just because he's skilled with the puck. It's like you said, it's being able to win puck battles. Like I remember seeing a metric earlier this year that he was like by far and away winning the most puck battles, like the frequency of that. That was remarkable to see. And yeah, it's just that I think that he is going to be a superstar for this team. It's not going to take that long until it happens. So I mean, I'm super stoked about that. And we'll see if we get another first overall pick this year, which I wasn't particularly hoping for. It'd be nice to get out of the cellar a little bit, but hey, if we can draft like we did there, that's not going to be so bad then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys got a ton of draft picks laying around down there too. So I have a feeling you guys are going to be on the up and up pretty quick here over the next couple of years, drafting well. And It takes a little bit of time, but at the end of the day, when you have those like key pieces like a Celebrini, which there's teams that would just kill to have that. Like Carolina's never really had a superstar player, and that's probably been one of the reasons they haven't been able to get over the hump. And you guys
Yeah.
already have that, so that's a piece you can't just pick up every day. Now, obviously, Rantanen's there now, but that took some shenanigans, a three-way trade for them to get that kind of a level of player. So you guys are set up, I think.
Yeah, I think that for the Sharks, it's like, okay, now they need that stud defenseman. They drafted Sam Dickinson, who did slide a decent bit in the draft last year. I still think, though, that they need, I mean, if you can find somebody who can shoot from the right side, like that's why I really wanted the Sharks to get Carter Yakimchuk.
Mm.
Got to see him earlier this year in the WHL, and I was like, holy God, like this was the guy that like I love that skill set plus the big frame. But Dickinson, he has size. He's very fast for somebody of his build, and I think he's still pretty offensively gifted. It's just you want somebody who's I wanted somebody who could be more like I'm thinking of like a Shea Weber type player, right? Where like yeah, sure, he'll add some offense, but like he doesn't need to do that, right? But anyway, we'll get something good in the draft this year, and yeah, we got an extra first from Dallas too, so that doesn't hurt.
I want to ask you too about the stats for the night, because obviously San Jose tonight they had 24 block shots, which is a pretty high total, and 26 hits. So physicality out there and not making it easy for the Canucks to get the shot in the front. Is that something that you've been seeing from this team this year, or did they just pull that out of the cupboard when they play the Canucks?
I mean the physicality I think that's something that I don't think we're as accustomed to seeing. I think that this team, there've been times when, where we will actually in a game that we're getting our asses kicked, we will drop the gloves. But in terms of just like consistent like finishing your checks, I don't think this team has impressed me all. I mean, it hasn't been just this year. It's just been over, I'd say, the last several years. I'm glad to see that tonight. And usually when you see more block shots, I think that's also kind of a product of not having the puck as much. But yeah, I think that the team overall had pretty solid third period showing, and overall I liked how they just kept competing. They didn't take a shift off. To use that cliche.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's hard to be consistent, and we know that better than anyone this year. I think the Canucks have probably been one of the most inconsistent teams from game to game, period to period. And we're very familiar with the hashtag, at least we got a point, with the 11 overtime losses. So I saw Chico using that hashtag in chat, the San Jose Sharks fans. So hashtag, at least you got a point.
Yeah, crazy. Apparently, they hadn't played a game that had gone into overtime since New Year's Eve, I think, or just about New Year's Eve.
Yeah, so that's a good
Yeah.
6 weeks without any extra time.
Yeah, and if we're going to lose games, we want to lose them by 1 goal, too,
So the one thing we always do on the post-game show too is we talk about the 3 stars, and it's interesting to see how the 3 stars break down based on who's calling them. Because obviously there are some places that are so biased that, you get the most ridiculous 3 stars. Tonight, there are 2 San Jose Sharks as stars. Your goaltender Vanasek and Celebrini both got the 2nd and 3rd star, which is interesting. But Drew O'Connor getting the 1st star. Do you think that's fair? Celebrini, no points, but gets a star?
Personally, I wouldn't have him there. If I were to have a second Shark, it'd be Toffoli, not just because of the goal, but because of him generating a lot of pressure in that 3rd period, especially. I would have probably given it to Demko. He had a couple of terrific stops, even though it wasn't the shot volume that would warrant like, first start of the game. When you instantly think about it. But I'd probably hand it over to him. But I like how they put Vanacek in there. Because he really he didn't give up any even strength goals. He gave up a penalty shot in overtime, and he gave up a power play goal. And that was the result of Dakota Joshua kind of like finding that soft zone to where the defense kind of overshifts, and he's able to kind of saunter on in toward the goaltender and tip that in. Which yeah, you could give it to him as well too, of course, and for him to kind of. I haven't really followed his season per se, but I know that he hasn't been able to produce at the level that we saw last year, to be kind, and obviously his circumstances, because I really like watching him a lot. So you could also throw him in there. But Vanacek was coming off a very lengthy injury, missed 6 weeks or so. I think it was a cheek, like a fracture in his cheek, though. So it wasn't like something to do with his groin or his ankle or something like that. But he still played a really good game. This is maybe the best game I've seen from Vanacek in a Sharks jersey this year.
Yeah, good. Well, Nick, I wanted to thank you for joining the stream tonight. It's been a lot of fun having you on. The trivia was great. Everyone had a good time doing that. We'll probably have you on again sometime later this year. I'm even looking maybe the April 14th game. We got San Jose coming up again later in the year, so that could be a fun one to have you on for if you're interested.
Let's see here. Am I interested in just another automatic loss? Well, I think that given the chat that we had this evening and every time I'm on, I think that you can already just like get the Sharpie out and just give big X or a big check. I'm there, man. April 14th.
Yeah,
that's gonna go on my calendar. Like I'm gonna go on my calendar right now. I mean, God, like what else would I rather be doing? Really?
Yeah.
What else am I gonna do? I mean, that sounds absolutely perfect.
Well, April 14th, that might even be the last game of the whole season.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be. April 14th, what day of the week is that? Monday. I mean, come on. A Monday can be cured, right? The case in the Mondays can be cured even if your team gets shellacked 5-0 or whatever it's going to be. But I'm there. 7 o'clock game?
Yep. In Vancouver this time.
All right. We can do it.
Yeah. So do you want to just maybe give the chat a little bit more about Cortana before we let you go?
Perfect. Yeah, I can do that. So here, let's. I'm just gonna pull full screen. I'm so inept at Discord. It took me like 4 years to even consider making one of these for my channel. When like people kept asking me. All right. So yep, here's Cortana, everybody. What a good girl. She's just been hanging here the whole night. You know what we got to do? Let's see if I have the coordination to do this. Oh wait, where did I put her bag of treats? Oh shoot, I have treats over there. I'll give her yeah.
Oh, she knows that word.
Oh, she knows it all too well. So yeah, guys, Cortana goes in for surgery on February 18th. So please do keep her in your thoughts. It's her ACL. She's had this procedure done on a different knee 2 years ago. But yeah, it's something that came kind of at an unfortunate time because I've been looking for work. And so that's why I've been reaching out to friends and family and the YouTube community to see if there's any way that people can help out with that. I've already paid $6,300 in expenses, x-rays, blood work, which the clinic does need that for surgery, a $5,000 deposit on surgery. We'll have follow-up appointments, other x-rays and medications. So if there's anything any of you can do to help, we already had Dusty come through with a very big, generous donation. You can see the video description down below. It's not just donations monetarily, but you can also buy one of my jerseys. That's one thing that we can do. Of course, I'm in the States, so shipping to Canada is pretty expensive, but I have shipped stuff across the border, or you can even buy some merchandise because you can get that in any size that you want, and it's got Cortana on it too, because she's the face of our channel. Anyway, but yeah, thanks so much for having me on. As always, Russ, I really do appreciate that, man. And hey, good luck to the Canucks the rest of the way. If you guys squeak into the playoffs, who knows? You guys could have a head of steam.
Yeah, you can feel free to keep celebrating for those 4 cups. Just pass them up after that, all right?
Honestly, with all the draft capital we have coming up, I just want us to finish second worst this year. We can be worst next year and get Gavin McKenna.
Yeah, baby steps.
Yep.
Awesome, brother. Thanks for joining the stream, and yeah, we'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right. Have a great night, everybody.
Nothing is perfect.